It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Welcome everyone, Sam Lesante. Thanks for joining us. My friends, let me ask you a question. What do you know about foster grandparents? Foster grandparents, unique, isn't it? It's a unique program to keep seniors connected. We're going to learn about foster grandparents, and maybe you can really be of help in this area. Joining me today is Collin Garrison, who is the Foster Grandparent Program Director. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much, Sam. Thanks for having me.
I wasn't that familiar with this until, they called me and asked me about doing the show. Mm-hmm. And when I started looking into this, I find it quite unique.
Yes, it is a very unique program.
First of all, what is the Foster Grandparent Program?
The Foster Grandparent Program is a program that was created 57 years ago, actually, this past August. And it was created to bring low-income seniors out of their homes and into the community. And what it allows them to do is to go into schools, daycares, learning centers, and they spend time helping children learn to read or do activities, do math, anything like that.
They have to be grandparents?
They don't have to be grandparents. That's a good question. They just need to be 55 years or older, and they have to love spending time and helping children. There are some income guidelines to it as well. They just can't be over 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, which for one person falls around $27,000 a year.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
The federal poverty guidelines?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying they have to fall into what? For their salary?
Yes, their income per year
has to be less than
has to be less than, like, around $27,000 or less, but that does not include disability income. If you receive any kind of disability payment, that is not considered income for this program. So it's basically just regular Social Security, and then any employment that you may have, and pensions. That's pretty much what.
Why do they set that limit at $27,000?
It's a federally regulated program, and they want to make sure that they are serving people who are most in need. So these are seniors who don't have a lot of income coming in, and this program provides a small stipend to those people.
Oh, they get paid for those?
Yeah, they get, right now it's $3.15 an hour.
Okay.
That has gone up in the past, and it may go up in the future. But right now it is $3.15 an hour, and they also get mileage reimbursement. So if they're using their own car, they get 62.5 cents a mile, which is the IRS regulated.
Okay, so take me to this process
Sure.
again. Okay, let's say I'm 58, 60, 63. I have time on my hands.
Yeah.
I'm on Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
I am making, that maybe 27,000 or less.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fairly good health. Okay,
Yes.
so what is it? How does that benefit me?
Okay, so if you have a lot of time on your hand and you want to spend time with children, you feel as though you would like to help children, with their literacy or with math skills or anything like that, that would be a benefit to you because you feel as though you were helping the community, you're getting out of your house. Mm-hmm. Because, many seniors, they spend a lot of time in their homes alone, mm-hmm. And they like to be in their homes, but they also want to be out in the community doing things. And they're just not sure what they can do because as you get older, you may have some health issues, and you just want to make sure that you get a volunteer position that works best for you.
Okay, so I'm going to call and say, look, mm-hmm. I'm interested in this foster grandparent program. Okay, give me a typical day. I live in Scranton, I live in Wilkes-Barre, or I live wherever. I'm playing this show in all my systems. So we got Pottsville, all the different areas we go into. Okay. Well, I want to be of help, but tell me, what would be my typical day like?
Okay.
And who am I going to take care of? What will be my responsibilities? Sure. So am I getting into something unknown territory?
Right. So what you would do is, in a typical day, you would go possibly to, let's say, a kindergarten, and you would pick a school that is probably close to your home because you don't want to have to travel far. And we would match you with a teacher at that school. You would go into the school, and the teacher would have already decided on maybe one or two children who would need an additional assistance, and you would sit with those children, like maybe the teacher would do some sort of a reading assignment, and then the children who need a little bit more help would sit with you, and you could go over the assignment with them again and help them just to understand or grasp the reading. Sometimes they're just having a hard time, getting through all the words and understanding the sentences, so you would be there as an assist to the child.
What kind of education would I need?
All of our foster grandparents have all different educational levels. Some went through 12 years of school. Others have, master's degrees. It does not matter. The main point is that you would like to spend time with children and you feel as though you could help them grasp some of those skills that they need early on in their educational career.
All right, so if I feel I could help someone, okay, and I'm a senior over 55 years old, relatively in good health, okay,
Yes.
I still have a problem with that $27,000, but I guess there's a reason for that, because there are some seniors that maybe have worked all their life and they have, income, okay, funds or retirement funds coming in. Right. That may be more than that. So I think that, in my estimation, limits to a degree, but.
Right. Now, the other thing to take into consideration that I haven't mentioned is that this program also takes into consideration any medical expenses that you have. So what we would do to come, we would look at your overall income, and then we would deduct any medical expenses that you have, such as premiums, co-pays, any kind of prescriptions, anything like that. We would deduct that, and we would see if you would fall within the guidelines.
Okay, so if I have like $3,000 or $4,000 a year in medicines or
Right.
whatever, that would be deducted.
That would be deducted.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Because what I, now here's another thing is like some people are, and I say this all the time, if you want to solve the world's problems, get all seniors together and they'll solve the problems because they've been through it, all right? They have the doctor's degree in common sense, and I think they could do a lot in helping a lot of people. I would say, well, I'm not necessarily interested in younger. I would like to go into maybe the high school. I would like to have an older. What's the age limit that I would be able to assist with?
So the actual age limit for the foster grandparent is from 0 to 21, actually. And so we do have 2 foster grandparents who are in high schools in the Wilkes-Barre area. So you are able to do that if that's what you would prefer to do. It's totally up to the volunteer to decide what age level they want to be in and what school district they want to work in as well.
So what are some of the activities that some of the foster...
That some of them do?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that there's definitely reading and math, but then sometimes there's just like activities they're doing. If they're doing like any sort of craft they may be doing in the classroom, the foster grandparent can help them with the glue or with the materials or whatever there may be. A lot of teachers will have them help them, like if they have a little area where they're playing, then the foster grandparent could help them understand how to clean up and put things away. And that's usually with the younger children. They need more assistance that way. They also have lunch with the children, and the foster grandparents will help them if they need help opening a milk carton or something like that. The foster grandparent can help with that sort of thing. It's just having that one-on-one bond with the children is what the program was meant to do.
Okay, so you're not looking at, I'm not going into a class, or I'm not going to have 5 or 6 children that I'll be working with. In some cases you may.
You may, yeah, in some cases you may. It all depends on, the class itself and how the teacher is the one who assesses the students and decides, okay, so this child or that child, they need some extra attention, so the foster grandparent would be with 1 or 2 children. But sometimes in a classroom you may just have a foster grandparent sit with 6 kids, if they're doing an activity, and that foster grandparent can help each child as they're doing like a craft or something like that.
What are you looking for? Like if there's certain people that excel in different areas,
right?
What's your typical foster grandparent? What are you looking for?
So they have to be friendly and personable. You can't use foul language in the classroom. You can't be an angry person. You have to have a lot of patience. You have to have a lot of just understanding of what some children are going through. And that's one thing that we found out is a foster grandparent, when they talk to a child, they can automatically determine, what this child has been going through, what's happening in their life, and they can help support them, in school to do better.
People get involved and they get emotionally involved.
Yes, and they do.
And that's a good thing.
It is.
And a bad thing. Okay. So now what happens is, if you're telling me, as a foster grandparent, there's different areas, okay? And let's say I'm interested in helping people develop, maybe teenagers, show with it, okay? How far would my responsibility be, all right? Because what happens is you become attached. Okay?
Yes.
And when you become attached, how far does this attachment go? You say, well, you know what? Why don't you come to my house and let me take you to the movies, or let me take you out for dinner, or how far does that go?
Well, our program only covers the volunteer grandparent while they're in the school. Okay. Now, I have not heard of this before, but if they decide to have some sort of relationship outside of the school, that would have to be separate from the foster grandparent program, and that would have to run through the child's family, of course. So the children are not allowed to leave the school with the foster grandparent. That's the policies of this program. They're not allowed to ride in the car of the foster grandparent. They can't give the foster grandparent their house keys or anything like that. There's a lot of regulations, and our foster grandparents are run through a gamut of background checks.
Yeah, that's right.
Lots of background checks.
I was going to ask you that, because if my child's there,
yes,
and I have this foster grandparent coming in, I want to know who that person is.
Right.
What is that person talking to? What can we trust them? So there's a series of tests that they have to go through.
Yes, there's a lot of background checks. So I joined the program in July, and the Luzerne County had the program before us, and we were able to transfer the volunteers who were there through Luzerne County to our program. So that was about 78 people. We had to do all of their background checks all over again from scratch. And so I will tell you that there are 2 different fingerprintings. One is required by the Department of Education, and the other is required by the federal government. So there's 2 different fingerprinting. And then there's FBI background checks, there's child abuse clearances, there's Pennsylvania State Police clearances, and I think I'm missing one, but there are.
They're well checked.
They are well checked.
They're well checked. Well, that's good. Folks, I'm talking to Collin Garrison. She is the Foster Grandparent Program Director for Telespond Senior Services. Their website's on the screen, seniordayservices.org, and the phone number is on the screen, 570-961-1950. Just to learn about the program. There's a lot of you out there I know that would like to help and just do something in your day. When I get back, I want to find out some specifics as to maybe some testimonies of some people, some foster grandparents who actually have been in the program. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who participated in our recent poll. Susquehanna Polling and Research, one of the top polling companies in the United States, recently did a poll on our viewership. We needed to know who was watching, and thank you for making the Sam Lesante Show the #1 talk show in Northeastern Pennsylvania. Appreciate it. And also, I got great news, my friends, and we're very excited about this. We are media partners with the Hazleton Standard Speaker. We've been for years. And now joining us as a media partner is the Republican Herald, the Boston Republican Herald, and we're very excited about that. These are 2 papers that are always community-minded. They help the community, and I love their coupons on Sundays because they save a lot of money. Anyway, I want to say thank you to all of the people who work at the Standard Speaker and also the Pottsville Republican Herald. for being our media partners. So we're talking about foster grandparents. Interesting for those of you who are not aware of it, especially you seniors who really want to do something. You know, you're tired of maybe just doing nothing around the house or whatever, it's bored. This is a great opportunity for you. My guest is Collin Garrison, and she is the Foster Grandparent Program Director. We have a phone number on the screen if you want to ask about it as we're talking, and there's also the website. Getting back to what we were talking about, I want to correct something. We had mentioned about it. If one person's living in a home and they're making $27,000, they qualify if they meet all the qualifications.
Correct.
But if their spouse is there, and now it's $36,000.
Right.
So, and then that's not including the deductions for premiums or
right.
Okay, fine.
Medical
Just wanna-
expenses.
and for more information on that, just if you're interested. Now, just review again before I get into some testimonials of
Sure.
people who've been there. Explain to me, what is Foster Grandparents all about?
Okay, a foster grandparent program started about 57 years ago, and it provides an outlet for seniors who they're looking for a volunteer activity and they love spending time with children. So they will go into schools, learning centers, or daycares, and they'll sit with children and they will assist them with projects or math homework or literacy readings, things like that. They are stationed there and they partner with the teachers to decide which students in the classroom need the most assistance.
Okay, so here again, we have seniors out there that they want to be useful, they want to help.
Yes.
And when they call, they go through scrutiny, so they make sure, just
Right.
like their grandchildren, if someone's talking to them or they want to know who that person is.
Right.
So we resolve that problem. Give me some of the stories that people, some are always hesitant. I want to help, but okay.
So we had, actually it was right here in Hazleton, it was a first grade student who was having quite a bit of difficulty actually understanding how to read sentences once they started getting into larger words. So the teacher would go over the reading with all the students in the classroom, and this child then afterwards would spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes with our foster grandmother, and she would sit down with that child and they would go over it and over it and over it, and then finally, it clicked. And after about maybe 2 or 3 weeks, that child was then able to catch up with the rest of the class.
See, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, how many hours am I committed to? I can't give you 40. I can help you, but how many hours could?
Well, we would love it if you can give us 40 hours. But the minimum amount is 5 hours. But most of our grandparents work around 20 to 25 hours per week. Mm-hmm. They can't exceed 80 hours per pay period. They get paid every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that's 2,080 hours a year. Uh-huh. But it's totally up to the grandparent to decide how many hours. The one thing to keep in mind, though, is we do provide benefit time to our foster grandparents. And that's kind of like if you're working, it's like PTO time, sort of. So as long as they work 15 hours every week, then they will receive 10 benefit hours the following month. And they can keep rolling that over, and they can use that time anytime they want. If they have to go on, if they want to go on vacation, if they have appointments or whatever, they can use benefit time.
Obviously, it's not a major income. It's a token, really.
Right.
Yeah, it's a stipend,
Yes.
just like a waitress.
Exactly. So
unfortunately, they don't get tips.
Right.
Maybe sometimes they get tips, but it's that kind of situation where it's just to cover some expenses. But the most important thing is what you're able to provide for that individual student.
Right.
If I feel that I could, there are a lot of trouble people today, particularly in school, if I'm a foster grandparent and I have one of those students and I'm sensing something, because grandparents, believe me, seniors,
they do.
They pick things up real fast,
Yes, they
okay? Don't underestimate seniors.
Mm-hmm.
How involved do I get?
So if you're noticing something with the child, of course you would want to bring it to the teacher's attention because the teacher is the person there. They can also talk to me about it, as since I'm the director, the foster grandparents talk to me all the time, so they can call me and tell me what they feel. And then I can reach out to the principal at that school just to inform the principal of what we're feeling is going on. There is a lot. These children, some children go through a lot in their homes. And they're not going to be able to leave it at their home and, check it at the door when they get to school.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it's a wonderful program, Colleen.
Thank you.
And I think if you have, especially, I know there's so many seniors out there today that have so much to offer.
Yes.
Some people retire, a lot earlier, and that's good. They should enjoy themselves. Collin Garrison, my friends, is the Foster Grandparents Program Director, Telespond Senior Services. The website's on the screen. Phone number is very easy. It's 570-961-1950. Call for information. I'm sure you could be of help. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show. My friends, remember ssptv.com. All of our programs are there. Our YouTube channel and Facebook. All of the information about all the local shows we produce are on that. My guest today is Collin Garrison. She is the Foster Grandparent Program Director, Telespond Senior Services. Phone numbers on the screen, websites on the screen. Very quickly, some of the facilities that you currently are in right now are?
The CDC, which is the Child Development Council, there's quite a few locations, and there's one here in Hazleton. The Head Start, there's also a Head Start location here in Hazleton. And then there's the Hazleton School District, of course, we can't leave that out. And then there's Greater Nanticoke area, Wyoming Valley West, Northwest, Pittston area.
Yeah.
And who did I miss, Sam?
Oh, come on. Where do you live?
Wyoming Valley West
and Wilkes-Barre
area.
Responsibility, because sometimes the grandparents, they're not taking the place of the teacher.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So tell me how that works.
So the foster grandparent, they have a set guidelines that they have to follow, and they are not allowed to do any job that a school employee is supposed to do. So they can't grade papers, they can't take out the garbage, they can't clean. They are there specifically to have that one-on-one connection with the students. So that you don't ever have to worry about them taking a teacher's aide job or anything like that, because that's not what they're there for.
In listing these areas here, for example,
Yes.
will the Luzerne County Head Start say, look, Collin, we're looking for grandparents that could help us here?
Right.
Can they give you specifics? So if someone calls and says, look, I know in the Greater Hazleton area, they're looking for a grandparent to do such and such and such. Do you have that information sometimes?
Yes. So a lot of times what will happen is a school district or a location will call me, say we're looking for X amount of foster grandparents if you have any. And then what I'll do is I'll look at my list and I'll contact some foster grandparents and see. Sometimes there is a transition, sometimes they're looking to change schools or something like that, and that's fine. But that's also why I'm always looking to recruit, because I need more.
So I go into the program. I'm excited about the program.
Yes.
And I'm there a week, and I'm not really feeling that it's what I thought it would be.
Right.
Do I have an obligation to continue on, or can I just say, look, I really didn't feel this is...
Right. So it could be a matter of, just the location or the age of the children. So what we could do is we could move the foster grandparent to another location, another classroom. And if it ends up that it's not going to work out, at any time a person can pull out.
Well, that's probably a minority, because I think probably if you have a foster grandparent who's excited about what they're doing,
right,
they're going to say, boy, where else can I help here? Can I help there?
Yes.
And they get involved and they see the benefits of helping that, using the talents that they had throughout the years of their life.
Yes.
And that's the exciting thing about it.
It's very exciting.
And I often say this, we have so much talent out there with our seniors.
Yes.
And just to see it go to waste, it breaks your heart. This is a great opportunity for you, my friends. Just check it out. Just find out what it's all about. The phone number is there, 570-961-1950. And they'll be more than happy to get information. Collin, they'll wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.